Welcome to this week's adventure into passionate living. I'm here in downtown Buffalo, New York, and on today's show we have some amazing guests. We're going to meet a young woman whose story is so powerful, and she has taken the challenges of her youth and channeled them into the most beautiful art, and you'll get to see that later today on the show. I'm going to sit with a new segment today with Samantha Latshaw, and we're going to have tea time and share some fun, passionate ideas with you. For anybody who needs an escape from the day-to-day and you can't afford to rent a hotel room for a couple of hours to just go and get away from all of the stresses of life, or maybe the family, or just need a little breather, there is a great alternative for you that you might not have even thought about to look for in your community. But first, we are going to meet a woman who is a hero of mine. She is a powerhouse. She is the first Black female to own a radio station in all of upstate New York. Come on in and let's take our first adventure into passionate living. Wow, Sheila, look at this place. This is amazing.
Yeah, we really put a lot of work into the Black Radio History Collective to really preserve 50 years, 60 years of WUFO history.
Wow.
You know, it's just amazing, the rich history that WUFO has. So we said, look, let's bottle it all up and put it in here so people can really see the story of what we have. So this is just the collectives.
Yeah.
We worked with Buffalo State College and Buffalo, their Museum of Science, you know, and normally they do a makeshift museum. This was the first time they were able to come, interview me, their classes. They did like 3 semesters of it. And I tell you, Cynthia is an amazing professor. She really did it. So when they first came in, this is how the space looked. And now this is what we want it to look like once it's all finished and laid out.
Amazing.
And then we're gonna work
this in the corridor.
in the corridor.
I mean, it's so rich here. All of the museums that are here now. You know, to capture. Part of the culture.
So the thing is, we want people to be able to go from the Jesse Nash House to the church, Colored Musicians Club, and then come over here to WFO, because it's all rich culture and all rich history. So to do a nice tour around it would just be amazing. I started the station in 1986.
Now
so this is my era.
Are the first and only woman of color to own a radio station in Buffalo, New York.
In Buffalo, all upstate New York.
All upstate New York.
Yep, all up.
Amazing.
So, you know, God he just answered all my prayers. When I left the radio station, it was 1998. I didn't cut the ribbon of me being owner until 2013.
Wow.
So I waited all those years, but working, writing my business plan, perfecting my business plan, meeting the right people, going to banks saying, no, okay, let me perfect this, because then maybe they'll say, yeah, let me do this. I started my own ad agency. You know, I worked at several radio stations. I worked at a television station, where I think I learned the most in my career at that particular television station. Some amazing people that worked there. Now, I did leave there kind of cloudy, you know? But I learned,
shake it up a little bit.
I had to shake it
up.
up.
And you are not a person that just sits by idly and lets things go. You are a shaker and a mover, and that's
that was it.
The passion. That's the driving force that helped you, as well as spirit. It was your strong
and that's what
spirit.
It was. It was the spirit. And you know, I think that sometimes when you're moving and people don't move as quick as you do, sometimes they don't take it too lightly. But I'm telling you, the most wonderful people that I met, I still talk to them now. They are amazing people that I work with. So I left there and I started my own ad agency. And that's when it really rippled effect for me, when I started my own ad agency. And I had to go back to WUFO because one of my clients was bringing in a gospel concert. So for 8 years, I never turned to WFO. I never passed it, because in my mind, I'm like, hey, I'm coming back to buy you, right? So I go into WUFO and I, you know, it's a gospel station, so it's a gospel client of mine. I got to do them justice. I would have did them a disservice if I didn't, spend money on WFO. So I went in and I met the most wonderful person, Carol Salter Glover. And she said, hey, the phone so often rings with people, asking for you. Would you ever consider coming back here? And I'm like saying to myself, chuckling, like, come back here. I'm coming back here to buy it, not to work, right? And so anyway, I go back to my ad agency, and about 2 days later, she calls me. She's like, hey, would you think about coming back here? I'm like, well, Carol, I have my ad agency right now. And she said, well, I talked to the owners, and they said you can bring the ad agency with you. And I'm like, what? So the same position that I left in 1998 as sales manager, I returned back in 06 as sales manager. So we never know what our destiny is going to be. You just don't know.
And then it was 2 years later that you bought it?
I was able to, well, no, because 06, 2013.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I piqued their interest, because now I'm working for the company again.
Yeah.
So now, okay, how did this happen? Like, how did I even get back here, right? So then I'm like, okay, so then a few layers later, the company Sheridan Broadcasting, they had a huge 50,000 watt station in Pittsburgh. So I heard they were selling that. And I'm like, okay, if they're selling that big baby, they're gonna be selling this sun up, sundown station, right? I said, time is now. So I piqued their interest, and right away they said yes. Said when they said yes, I wasn't totally ready. I didn't have funding, I hadn't have everything in order. But they said, I knew.
You knew in your heart, you knew you were gonna get it.
I knew. And I'm telling you, we just worked it. We worked it. I did everything I need to do, except a lot of no's, a lot of crying, a lot of bumpy on my knees praying, all of that to make it happen. And then that day when we cut the ribbon was just so amazing.
Sheila, can you show me around the radio station?
Please, let's go. Because this here is the nonprofit arm of WUFO. So this is our Radio History Collective. So let me take you to show you the live radio station in here. So now this is how the station actually looked before I actually did all what I did, right? So I had a vision. I was like, nope, I could see it. I know it. Everybody thought I was straight crazy, right? But this is what it looked like before we brought it to what it is today. None of, yeah.
Completely different.
Completely different, yeah. So we had to truly, all the walls you see, all cubicles, everything you see is what we actually built and actually put together. None of this was here, So it just was amazing. You want to go into the newsroom or conference room?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So inside of here, we kind of did it all. And then here is the newsroom. So we had this amazing girl paint the table for me.
This is beautiful.
Actually, my staff kind of surprised me one day, and they were like, we have this girl coming in from New York City, and she's originally from Buffalo, but had been gone for years and years and years. And she came in and she painted this table for us because we're celebrating 60 years in the industry. So they were trying to take it back to like in 1961 when the station started, doing graffiti and stuff like that. So yeah, she did an amazing job.
That's
so
great.
When I do my show, this is where I sit. So they got SLB right there. And I named this room Carol Salter Glover. She was GM. That same year, we went to Live Remote, and it was in Niagara Falls, but it was a gospel one. And they said, hey, you two come up. And I'm like, I know they're not talking to us. We're behind the controls, right? And they said, they started talking to me. You're going to run the station. You're going to do good. Now, no one knew my dream of that. That was when I came back in 06.
So they said that even before you had announced your dream to anybody.
Absolutely, yeah. And
I
so
got
then,
chills.
yeah. And so then the next year is when Carol got sick. And so she left the station. She said, I'm just going to go to Sister Hospital real quick. She had like this big red mark, but I knew it was a blood clot. So she goes to Sisters, and so 2 days go by, and I'm like, hey, Carol, what's going on? I got to come see you. And when I went to see her, she said, you ready? And I said, what do you mean? She said, you remember what that preacher said a year ago? She said, are you ready? I said, oh, Carol, you're gonna be fine. She said, no, I have 3 spots on my lungs, 3 on my brain. And so I'm thinking maybe she knew a year ago and that's why she wanted me to come back.
Wow.
So she made it for like 8 months and then she passed away. So I dedicate this full room to her. She ever stays in my heart with that. And you know, beautiful. Yeah. So that's how this room became Carol Salter Glover. Yeah.
This is really amazing.
Yeah. And
what a
so
tribute to her soul.
the bathrooms are Aretha Franklin. You know, Aretha Franklin, you know, her dad actually was a minister at Friendship Baptist Church.
Really?
Yeah, here in the city of Buffalo.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So she spent like
How did we not know these?
Exactly. So she spent like 6 years of her life here in the city of Buffalo. So inside the bathroom is everything about Aretha Franklin. So it's all her albums, all of her albums on the wall, and her papers, and you know, all of that. Yeah, it's all about Aretha Franklin.
This is great.
Yeah. And so we did the same thing.
Come out and
oh yeah, here
like all this powerful woman energy.
And then we did the same thing for the men. So we turned the men into, because the thing about it is, in the 60s, the music that people of color was used to hearing, now they were able to hear James Brown when they turn on the radio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are a powerhouse, a leader, and I'm so grateful to have you with me today on the show.
Thank you so much.
You're the epitome of passionate living.
I love it. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for taking the time to come to the studios and, you know, learn my story, walk with me through the journey of it all. Sometimes I still like, oh my God, what's next? So thank you.
You'll find out.
I'll find out.
You always find out.
Yeah, I'll find out. Yep. So thank you so much for that.
I want to welcome you to a new segment to the show, and I have my dear soul sister, Samantha Latshaw, and this is Tea Time with Sam and Kat that we're going to introduce and talk about fun things that we're passionate about that you might enjoy out there in the community, and just give them a try and see if they work for you. And Sam, the first thing you have is this tea.
Well, thanks for having me, Kat. We're going to have a blast today.
Oh, yes.
We have some nice warm tea, which is always great to warm the heart, and of course some nice girl talk. So I brought my Anise tea.
At least we could do it here on the set, because I don't have any time to do it anywhere else.
Well, this is when we have our quality time in at work, right?
I love it.
So let me serve you some.
Okay.
So this tea is called Star Anise tea. Mm-hmm. My grandmother makes this when, you know, you have like a tummy ache, or, you know, just a little nausea, upset stomach. You may have had it in some like Italian treats, like you'll see the actual seed.
I love anise is a great.
Right. So it has like, it comes in the star and then also in the actual seed, which you'll probably see in the dessert.
Right.
But
well,
cheers, my friend.
Cheers. Smells a little like licorice. Mm.
It does. It has a resemblance to licorice.
This is delicious.
It's
going to be like one of my new favorite go-tos for tea.
And it's like you said, it has a resemblance to licorice. It almost feels like, especially if you add a little honey, it almost feels like a little treat without the guilt.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Especially during this time of COVID when we're, yeah, without the guilt is great.
Absolutely.
Well, that's another point too, is that we don't often take enough time for ourselves. And having a nice cup of tea versus coffee at the end of the day, to sit down and just take a few breaths.
Right, because coffee, I love coffee, don't get me wrong, but too much coffee can cause those jitters and make you a little anxious sometimes.
Exactly. And I want to talk to you about something else very cool you were telling me about in the dressing room. You were saying that you do facial exercises. I need to know, for everybody out there that wants to decrease the lines and refresh your face a little bit and do it naturally, Can you show me what that looks like?
Yeah, so I don't know how much it'll help with the lines. However,
okay,
it will definitely help with opening up your eye area.
I need that. I've been feeling that.
Kind of like a natural facelift. So, you know, it's an exercise. You have muscles on your face, just like, you know, when you exercise your body. Now, it almost feels like you're doing crunches, but for your eye area, right?
So what do we do?
So take these two fingers.
Okay.
You're gonna place them right underneath your eyebrows.
All right.
And then you're gonna add just a little bit of pressure upwards, right? And now you're going to just kind of frown while you add the pressure.
We do look funny, don't we?
We do look funny.
Perfect.
My husband looks at me and he's like, what are you doing?
Oh my gosh,
Like,
I feel, this feels tighter.
Yes. So
Wow.
after doing that, so I do this personally while I'm just relaxing watching television, you know, in between commercials. And you just do that for, you know, a couple minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and you feel lifted.
Well, thank you so much, Sam, and thanks for joining me today and sharing that little tip. I love it.
My pleasure. It's a lot of fun.
Until next
Kat.
week,
Until next time, my friend.
live passionately. Well, I'm here today with Kelly. You are a passionate woman who is making a difference in your community and providing such an important service to people. How did you get started doing salt caves? I love this.
We wanted to bring something to Western New York to help people with respiratory issues, something that we didn't have here. I knew it was something that worked. It had helped me with sinus issues and other issues. The closest was in Canada, so we decided to bring it here and to let other people experience it and benefit from it.
Wow, and boy, did you bring it here. I was in a salt cave in Santa Barbara once, but I gotta tell you, this is extraordinary. You have how many rooms, how many salt caves here?
We have the cave and then we have a halo room, same treatment in both.
Right.
The difference is just the atmosphere, and when we expanded, we wanted to have a room that was wheelchair accessible. So our second room is wheelchair accessible.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. What else can you do? I mean, I think it's so important for people to take a break every now and then. I know I'm so overwhelmed at work, then doing the show, then caretaking at home. And every once in a while, now that I've discovered you, I'll just run away for an hour. I mean, if you can't rent a hotel room for a couple hours or do something which can be very expensive, you can just come to somewhere like a salt cave and it's therapeutic.
Absolutely.
And take a big exhale from life, right?
Therapeutic, good for the mind and the body. We have the salt cave, we have some infrared saunas, hand-foot detox rooms, and then we do some hands-on services. So we have massage, we have facials, all organic, we do cupping, hypnosis,
Wow.
bunch of different stuff.
So you could come and have a lot of fun here.
Right. Everything to make somebody feel good.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you, Kelly. I really appreciate it. So Rosina, this is one of the many places I go when I'm trying to run away from home, you know, when I'm trying to get away from you and Grandma sometimes.
That's me.
You sound a little salty, Rosina. We're here because it's beautiful, it's relaxing, but most of all, it's therapeutic. Did you know that salt is really good for you, especially for respiratory issues, breathing it in?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so not only do we get to like look at the starlight and hear beautiful sounds in the background and water fountains, but we get to breathe in salt and be healthy. Don't you feel better now?
Yeah, that's weird because I feel like I can actually breathe here.
Well, better than our house, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I always feel like my sinuses are clearer when I'm here.
Yeah.
See, someday you'll be able to drive
Away.
and you'll be able to go to a salt cave and run
Yeah.
away from home.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Cool. Oh my gosh, that was so relaxing. You want to see what other trouble we can get into?
Okay.
All right. Oh my God, Rosina.
Yeah.
It's a sauna.
I know.
Are you in?
I'm in.
All right. Rosina, look at this. Isn't this amazing? Kelly's giving us some of her favorite tea to take back, so when Sam and I do tea time, is that new segment I have on the show, I'll have some new tea for us to try.
Wow, that's nice. It looks,
Right?
yeah.
Have you ever
looks
seen
nice.
so many teas in one place in all your life?
I haven't. There's so many.
So many. We'll have to come back and try them all one at a time.
Yeah.
Okay, Rosina, last stop. We have to find a crystal for Grandma.
Okay.
I think she likes this adventuring. Would be beautiful for her.
Sharp.
Ah, you're right. Let's get around one for
Yeah.
her. Okay. Hi, Tina. Thank you for being here with me today on Passionate Living.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
It's so great to run in to this beautiful young powerhouse like yourself that
Thank
is
you.
capable of so many things. You're like a creative force of nature.
Thank you. Thank you.
With your music, your videography,
Yeah.
your photography. So I would love for you to share today something of your work with the audience. Can you tell me a
Yes,
little bit about what we're
absolutely.
about to watch?
So this song is from my project. My project is called Soul's Acrylic, and one of the songs that I just did a video for is called Grown Woman. And I wanted to showcase to the world what I believed women's empowerment is. I wanted to showcase my perspective of what it is. So I talked about where I come from and what I believe a woman should embody. And in the music video, we highlighted some powerhouses that I believe are just really impactful. And I wanted to highlight them and cameo them within this song called Grown Woman. And as a continuation, I went around my city, I love my city, Buffalo, New York, and I captured videos of women who I really feel connected to. And so just showcasing them in a poetic way to hopefully encourage other women and young women. So I hope you enjoy this music video, Grown Woman.
Buckle your seatbelts because you know it's going to be amazing.
She see boy, she be working with her hands. Yeah, that's a grown woman. Grind for the cause, hustle in advance. Yeah, that's a grown woman. Respect from a man, mind don't expand. Yeah, that's a grown woman. Stack up the bands, spend it on the land. Yeah, that's a grown woman. Woman, pack light and keep your faith right. God first when we aim. It don't matter what the daylight, cause dark gon' come. So prepare in the daylight. Life move quick, it don't wait for your right time. Woman, with your weight like burdens got you worried in a late night. Got you moving slow, grown women, we acknowledge it, grow and then move it on. Let go of all your calluses, learn and then carry on. A grown woman work to balance emotions and weakest moments. I fail plenty like Danny, I pick it up, keep it going. I rise late in the night, my hubby trust in my grind. I serve him love of my life, I pack the sword for the fight. I teach my kids how to live, to love, give, and ignite. Wait, they talking rent, we tryna own. What a real estate. You let us in a room, we gon' renovate. We planting heavy, later harvest on a dinner plate. Wait. Go and watch us innovate. The real ones keep it Benny Frake, sis, never imitate. Got a village full of women with the faith that'll elevate. Grown woman business, we be reppin' with the heavyweights. We on a grown woman business. Why you in your feelings? You could come with us. We be on a whole nother village. And on it this level, it's a whole lot of critics. We bring a lot of grown women with us. Respect me like a grown woman. You looking at a grown woman, and we be on a grown woman. You looking at a grown woman.
They should wanna be in our vicinity. With sanity's and body credit, therapy and golly deeds. I'll tell the truth for shame the beast. And make every percent of me an enemy to anything against the king. Queen, girl, you better represent what excellence you grown. Yeah, sure to do it, help you do that on your own. Stay unashamed with your name, all the things you'd overcome. And never refrain from relaying, displaying how it's done. I reckon something missing is the misconception that world life's a hype that won't look like the next one. And all that vain advice, the world disguised as blessed, son. They tell you go do what you want, you earned your session. To be the rudest, to be the crudest, to feed excuses, to bring influence, to speak is stupid, so fluent. You should be moving with order, steps could be ruling with guidance that you like. Even a garden went wild, you know how that ends. Lauren warned us about that nakedness you sporting. Maybe it's boredom, but what our daughters see is important. Look, yo, if you disagree, the grown woman meet at 3. I pray we sway you over TV on that grown woman business.
Why you in your feelings? You could come with us. We be on a whole nother village. And on this level, it's a whole lot of critics. We bring a lot of grown women with us. Respect me like a grown woman. You looking at a grown woman, and we be on a grown woman. You looking at a grown woman.
Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of Passionate Living. I hope that the amazing women that you met today in our special Women's History Month edition will inspire you to do great things in this lifetime and to step into whatever you came here to do in the world. I'll see you next week on Passionate Living. Remember to watch Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m., Sundays at 11 a.m., and for more information, come to passionateliving.com.